Josh.
Hi, everybody. We're back. We have a question from YouTube.com. Search for The Financial Quarterback on YouTube, and you'll see my ugly mug. Hit the subscribe button. And we have Pat who says, sorry I was late for the annuity segment. Well, that's the beauty of YouTube. You can go back and watch it. Is it typical for the principal in an annuity to freeze when you start annuitizing it? It may, and that's why you may want to consider non-annuitized annuities. The old saying was annuitization is annuicide to your principal, meaning like when you annuitize, you're kissing the rights to your principal goodbye. It doesn't sound like yours is exactly true annuitization. In true annuitization, you give the principal rights back to the company and you get an income for as long as you or your spouse or for a set period of time. So I hope that helps you, Pat. If you have any follow-ups, be sure to call us at 888-988-JOSH. We would love to hear from you or any of our listeners if you call us at 800-321-0710. And that's why some of them charge a fee. You're basically buying what's called reinsurance. So if you live longer than life expectancy, the insurance company doesn't go under, basically. Investment News is reporting that we need a retirement task force. Do we really need another government entity to require retirement security? Failed programs like Social Security prove the government has no place in your retirement strategy. So there's a lot going on here, and I'm a little concerned for those of you who, I don't know about you, but is a retirement security task force a good thing or a bad thing? I want you to answer that with me. Is a retirement security task force a good thing? According to Mary Beth Franklin, who's been a popular guest on the program, more than 30 leading voices in the retirement industry released a letter urging Joe Biden to issue an executive order to create a standing interagency task force on retirement security. Do we really need another government task force? And you notice the companies are urging him. Why? Is because they're going to get some extra business out of it through it. So the letter was, who was it signed by? From all these. Now, mind you, I believe retirement security is a problem. But all these companies, ADP, even Prudential, Saver Life, TIAA, Third Way, Commonwealth, Alliance for Lifetime Income. So why do we need private companies to petition the government for more money? Now, if you want expanded, tax breaks or the protection of the 401k or some type of program that incentivizes people to save their own money, I'm all for that. But it just always worries me. It's like a lobbying type of thing that I don't know if it's needed. What say you? Mike, using a brokerage option on a company 401k. We'll talk about that next. Go ahead, Mike.
Yes, hello, Josh. I have a question for you. I have a 401k with my company, and they offer a brokerage option on it. And from talking to other people, people have taken money out of their 401k and have bought stocks with a particular investment company. I just wanted to know, they said it would be treated as ordinary income. Is this a good idea or is this a bad idea to take money out of your 401k? I know the taxes would be, you would be taxed instead of it being in a 401k where it wouldn't be taxed.
Well, it would still be taxed. The question is it like what's called brokerage links? So we, in partnership with Fidelity, and we're not owned by them, but we work with them as a custodian on certain 401ks, where if you have a Fidelity 401k, we can help manage that through a process called Brokerage Link. Then you don't have to pay any extra taxes. You can have world-class professional guidance. We could help you with buying individual stocks, index funds, mutual funds, no-load funds, and you don't have to leave the 401k. So some programs have that. That's called Brokerage Link. Schwab has another thing that they call it similarly. And basically, you can keep the tax deferral and not get the big tax hit. If you're saying, people are saying, take your money out of your 401k, pay all this tax, and then put it in a taxable account, well, I don't know if that's necessarily a good idea. I would have to get to know you, what you're trying to do. It would be better to if you're going to pay the tax and have it go into a Roth IRA. That way all the future growth is tax-free. But it sounds like you mean just pulling money out of 401k and just putting it in a brokerage account. But the brokerage account still has taxes on gains. It's just not tax deferred. So I don't really understand what people are encouraging you to do. Do you know?
Well, I know that the advantages of a 401k is that you're not taxed until after you sell everything. But the point is like, say, for example,
you're not taxed till you're 72. You can buy or sell stock or mutual funds within an IRA without paying tax. It's when you hit 72, you have to take out a required minimum distributions. Or if you need money before 59.5, there's a 10% penalty plus income tax.
Correct.
So maybe they're saying to tax that capital gains taxation is better than income taxation. I don't know what they're getting at.
No, I think from what I talked to different people, what their point was, say I don't have the capital in my hand to purchase an Amazon and buy, 50,000 shares of not 50,000, but say 10,000 shares. I can't afford that out of my own personal income. But if I take it out of my 401k, now I can grow that money with a Fidelity Link account. That's a brokerage account that's linked with us.
You may be able to do that. I would call us at 888-988-JOSH before you make a mistake, because it was worrisome when you said that you might have to pay the tax on it to go into a taxable account.
Okay.
But you may just be referring to the brokerage link concept where you don't pay any tax and you can buy whatever you want within the universe.
That's what they told me, that I don't have to pay taxes on it if I take my money and put it into, whatever I wanted to use the money for as far as stocks are concerned.
Yeah, it sounds like brokerage link. I would call us. We could call your 401k company with you, see if it's available, and make sure there's no tax consequences.
Okay.
The thing you'd also want to look out for is when buying individual stocks, you want to make sure you're properly diversified. So if one stock goes under, you don't get, you don't lose a ton of money. Okay.
Well, I'm well diversified in my 401k. Just I wanted to have the opportunity to purchase, like we just talked about with your program.
Shares
was talking
of
about,
something. Sure. Yeah.
Buy an Amazon or something like that, where they're going to be around forever.
Yeah. Well, that's what they said about Sears. So you always want to be careful when buying individual stocks. So I remember I did a show one time that, I think about 100 years ago, the Sears catalog was like Amazon.com.
Right.
If you went back in time 100 years and you showed people Amazon, they'd go, I don't need that. I got the Sears catalog. Remember, I remember in the 80s, 70s, you would circle what you wanted.
Yeah.
From like the best catalog or the J.C. Penney, and then you'd show your parents, hey, this is what I want for Christmas. And in some ways, what if we go back to the future? What if that's the new, like a digital catalog? Because in the era of just over inundation with sales online, maybe people will crave that. So no doubt the Sears catalog must have been inspiration for Jeff Bezos with Amazon. Because if you think about it, Sears, you used to be able to buy like Craftsman tools, get your tires done, buy blue jeans, buy a shirt. It's kind of like Amazon. You can buy virtually anything. But that was thought of to be like the paragon. And then Sears went belly up, and now Amazon's rock and roll. So always be careful when buying individual stocks. So great question, Mike. And then we're going to go to Dan and Jerry. Jerry has questions on TODs, taxes, and dividends on death. Also, Dan wants to know about buying preferred stock and gifting his kids from his portfolio. And we'll talk about more when we return. But first, call me 888-988-JOSH right now for the 45-minute ultimate financial game plan. We'll show you different tax savings strategies, asset protection strategies, and growth strategies in these uncertain times. So call us 888-988-JOSH, 888-988-5674. We'll be back after these messages. Okay, we're live, taking your calls at 800-321-0710. If you have a financial question, call us now. This is your show where we get to ask any and every financial question you have. Also tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday at 9, check out the YouTubes. Search for Josh Jalinski, the financial quarterback. Hit subscribe, and if you miss a show, you get to watch my ugly mug on YouTube. Next up, we have Dan. Go ahead.
Yeah, good morning. Thanks for taking my call.
Hey, how have you been, Dan?
Okay, pretty good. Nice hearing your voice again. Buying a new, and that's the key, new preferred stock, a place that I am dealing with claims that I cannot do it there, and I like to add it to my holding. Any idea how I can go about buying it?
Well, preferred stock, you can buy any preferred stock at any brokerage company. Just instead of having your money at the bank, put it at a brokerage company. Call us, 888-988-JOSH. We can first do due diligence to see if it's right for you. Second, give you freedom of investment options with world-class brokerages. We work with companies like Fidelity, Schwab, Interactive Brokers, and whatever is best for the client. So E-Trade. Does that make sense?
I understand. Well, it sounds great. Okay, the only thing here, people I'm working claiming that they don't offer it. That's why I was wondering if I wanted to go and branch on my own, how would I go about it? Okay, so you suggest to get in touch with your company, and I can do it through you.
Yeah, 888-988-JOSH. Yeah, any broker should be able to find a preferred stock. So.
Okay, well, I wish it was so simple. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, well, my other question is like this. Okay, it might sound strange, okay, but I know what I need at this point of my life, and I have 2 adult children, and I like to gift them some of my portfolio. Now, I know about the $15,000 a year, but I'm talking substantially more than that, okay, and I trust them, okay, and in either case, if they want to blow it, whether they're going to blow it while I'm alive or after it, it's their choice, but I trust them. So is it smarter to just leave it alone, and when I die, they get the money, they get the cost base and all this, or let them have it earlier, okay, or at least part of it? Any thoughts?
Well, you can give $15,000 a year per kid, per spouse, so $30,000 each.
I'm talking about
without the annual gift tax applies. No, I know what your question is. I'm just giving, but you can also have what's called the giver's lifetime gift tax exemption. So you could give $1 million as long as you file a gift tax return. Does that make sense? They could get whatever amount you want to give them up to a certain amount without gift taxes.
Now, do you pay taxes on those?
No.
Only if you give it more?
No, you just have to file a form.
Okay, so when you file your taxes, you also file a form?
You would only pay the tax if your assets were like north of 24 million or something.
I wish. No.
So if it's 11.58 million was last year's gift tax threshold. So per spouse, it's 11.7 million this year. 23.4 million as a couple, and then any gifts above that would be taxed at a 40% tax rate.
What about as far as state and local taxes?
Well, state and local may have their own thing. Your state may have a $5 million threshold. We'll help you walk through that when you call us at 888-988-JOSH for our gifting strategy session. 45 minutes with yours truly, 888-988-JOSH. Also, what are other considerations? Should you gift it or should you let it grow and then them get a step up in basis? Well, it depends on how much you're worth. If you're worth like in that 23 million range, you should definitely do the gifting because they're probably going to change that with the Biden tax code. But let's say, you're like, oh, I got $500,000, $1 million I want to give to them. You may want to grow that in something like a Roth tax-free for 10 years. You may want to grow that in stock. That way they get a step up in basis. Now, we don't know if the step up in basis will be around forever, but it currently is. And then if they ban the step up in basis, then you do the gifting strategy. So it's not merely enough to gift. You want to gift with a plan. And also, you might trust your kids, but what about their spouses? So that's why you may want to even set up a trust or dynasty trust. That way, when your spouse dies, the money doesn't go to your in-laws, your son-in-law, it goes to your daughter, and then when she dies, it goes to your grandchildren. Because if you leave all the money to your daughter, she dies, it could go to the son-in-law, which you may want that to happen, but it's just something that some people don't want to happen. So we explore all the ways to leave your money to the people you love and the causes you love. So calls for the 45-minute strategy session, 888-988-JOSH. Any other follow-up questions, Dan?
Thank you so much, and have a great day. And again, nice hearing you again.
Thank you. Great to hear you again. And you got to make sure, if you miss any of the, I know you're a loyal listener, Dan, you want to make sure we got the YouTubes. We're on Spotify. We're on the iHeartRadio app. So if you miss any episodes, we do 3 live hours every weekend. And now we have even a new bite-sized snippets called Financial Quarterback Inside the Huddle, which can be found on Spotify. It takes the best of the shows, cuts out any commercial content. A lot of people like that, so you get like a daily nugget of information every day. Cal does a great job putting that on. So thanks so much for the call. Next up, Jerry, TODs. What does TOD stands for? Transferable on death. Go ahead, Jerry.
How you doing, Josh?
Thank you for the call.
Okay. Josh, I have a TOD account. When I die, do any taxes have to be paid on transfer on death, or is that deferred until the stock is cashed?
Well, it depends on what you're worth, and it depends on what asset.
Okay. All right. You answered the question there. All right. The other question that I have is
no, but if you have, let's say you're less than 24 million, and you don't have state tax to worry about, and you have stock in, I don't know, Berkshire Hathaway that you bought 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I own it for the interest of full disclosure, not recommending you buy or sell it. I'm just saying, just using a stock name.
Yeah.
So you buy 100,000, today it's worth 400,000. You bought it 20 years ago. You die, your heirs wouldn't pay tax on it, on the 100 growth to the 400, because they get it with a step up in basis. Now, once they inherit it, then they would pay interest, dividends, and capital gains, which Berkshire doesn't pay any dividend tax, so you wouldn't pay tax on that.
I got you.
Let's say they inherit it August 1st of 2022. Hopefully you don't die in a year. And then they don't sell it for 5 years. Well, then they would pay tax on the 5 years of growth, but not your growth, unless you gifted it to them, which this kind of ties into Dan's question. Sometimes if your focus is legacy and giving money to your kids, you don't want to gift it because then you're going to gift your tax burden to them.
Okay.
Well, one of the beautiful things about owning stock or ETFs is when you die, they get a step up in basis. And although Biden is saying, I want to get rid of that, he's saying it for only a certain type of person, if you make over $1 million. Now, eventually they're going to get rid of it for everybody, is what I guess the angle is. So they're trying to get used to people paying it. But, rather than just say, well, we're only going to affect trillionaires. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So give us a call.
Yeah.
888-988-JOSH. Thank you, Monica, for praying. Wow, I just got a text from my wife. They moved him down to 1 liter of oxygen, and he's nursing. And that would be great. So keep praying. Free the baby. Free the baby from the hospital. So what other questions do you have, Jerry?
Yeah, Josh, one other thing. I have it set up where dividends are reinvested into the TOD. When I die, does that automatically continue on the TOD? Well, it doesn't, because the TOD is transferred, I understand that. But do the dividends still continue that way, or does the TOD have to set it up?
Most brokerages will freeze the account upon death.
Okay.
So your heirs have to deal with it. Now, I don't know if they continue reinvesting dividends or not. Theoretically, I guess they don't, but could happen, I guess.
Okay, you have to. They'll have to check on that themselves.
That's why a lot of people, if you're a self-manager, and let's say your kids aren't or your wife isn't, you say, hey, you know what? Call 888-988-JOSH, and Josh will help you.
All right, very good.
Because a lot of people too who listen to the show, they're really knowledgeable, but their spouse isn't, or their kids aren't, and that's one reason to hire a financial advisor before you go. That way, it's all set up seamlessly. Because you don't want them to mourn, and we've had too many people, and for some reason this is peculiar. It is never the planning spouse that goes second; they always go first. And I wonder if it's because they're a Type A personality, they have the heart attacks, all that stuff. Not to be joking, but typically the one who's left is not as into the finances. So we sometimes have to spend like a year educating people who've inherited money. Yes, you're going to be okay. Here's what they've set up. Here's the taxes. And that's something that we'd be happy to help anybody if you're going through that, or if you want to make sure your heirs don't go through that. They have the right people to go through. Give us a call at 888-988-JOSH. Any other questions, Jerry?
Well, I just said I don't have to worry about that. I'm single, so I don't have to worry about that at all.
Well, that's a good concern, but also you do have to worry about it. Here's why. If you have highly appreciated stock and you pledge that money to charity, you can get massive write-offs. So that might be something you look at doing, and then use those write-offs to convert IRA to Roth money, and then your heirs or your niece or your nephew, they'd get the money tax-free on the Roth, and then you would be able to give to charity. So there's a lot we could help you with. Give us a call, 888-988-JOSH. It's the Tom and Jerry Hour, because next up, we got Tom, who wants to know about how to defer taxes on H and H bond cash-in. When we return, if you have bonds...
The preceding program was sponsored by the Jalinski Advisory Group.
Any awards, rankings, or recognition by unaffiliated third parties or publications, including 5-Star Wealth Manager, Advisory of the Year finalist by Senior Market Advisor, and top of the $1 Million Roundtable, are in no way indicative of the advisor's future performance or any individual client's investment success. No award, ranking, or recognition should be construed as a current or past endorsement of Josh Jalinski or Wealth Quarterback LLC. Information regarding specific awards, rankings, or recognitions is available on the Wealth Quarterback website at www.jalinski.org. All investment strategies have the potential for profit or loss. Investment strategies such as asset allocation, diversification, or rebalancing do not assure or guarantee better performance and cannot eliminate the risk of investment losses. There are no guarantees that a portfolio employing these or any other strategy will outperform a portfolio that does not engage in such strategies. This broadcast should not be construed by any client or prospective client as a solicitation to effect or attempt to effect transactions in securities or the rendering of personalized investment advice. Due to various factors, including changing market conditions, the information discussed in this broadcast may no longer be reflective of current positions or recommendations. While information presented is believed to be factual and up to date, Josh Jalinski and Wealth Quarterback do not guarantee its accuracy, and it should not be regarded as a complete analysis of the subjects discussed. The tax and estate planning information discussed is general in nature, is provided for informational purposes only, and should not be construed as legal or tax advice. Listeners should consult an attorney or tax professional regarding their specific legal or tax situation. Advisory services offered through Wealth Quarterback LLC.